facto, é verdade. Há coisas mesmo muito más para que nós acreditemos nelas. Mas não é o facto de muitos de nós continuarem a olhar para o lado ou achar que não, que elas deixam de existir. Assisto a esta compilação de vídeos, depois reflitam. Fiquem bem.
Dr. Young, Chief Justice, and His Grace, both. I knew that would incite His Grace. Chief Justice, please.
No, this is not a question. You said that you'd heard that there was basically a plan to eliminate a third of the population. The population of the world, and Africa was the main target because the people there are worthless. I just want to say that a colleague of mine, and I make it clear when I say a colleague, someone I know professionally, who is very highly placed. He's not a friend, he's just someone I know who went to the conference at Davos just recently, and the people who go to Davos are the architects and controllers of money and the politics of the world. And he came back and he said to me that it is a definite systematic plan because they have worked out they need to get rid of at least a third of the people on the earth. And I said to him, does that include me? And he said, no, it doesn't include you because you're of European stock.
You're one of us.
Yeah, well, these are not my words. These are Bill Gates' words.
Yeah.
Just Google Bill Gates and depopulation and sterilization. You'll hear out of his own mouth the plan. And then if that's not enough for you, then listen to Henry Kissinger and his words, where he talks about how this is a win-win situation. And the mandation and mandating vaccines is part of the plan for depopulation and
This is premeditated mass murder. Dr. David Martin joins us now. We appreciate your time. Is that an accurate assessment, do you think, Dr. Martin?
Well, there's no question, because when you inject a known toxin, and we're going to get into this when we talk about the biological and chemical weapons laws and treaties of the United States and the world, for that matter, when you inject a known toxin into a person, you are actually injecting an agent of death. That's what you're doing.
What I was here today to speak about truly was the weaponization of public health.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm also a whistleblower. That's my... That person right there called me one day. I called her, I can't remember, it was an email. And she said, have you seen the DMED system? Have you seen what it's up? And I'm like, I'm working on the border. I'm trying to stop 12,000 people from coming across this border a week. And she said, well, take a look at it.
Seeing the DMED data, I have significant concerns that we won't have a standing army in 5 years.
Case 1-01, United States Air Force A-10 instructor pilot, mid-30-year-old male, hospitalized 12 hours after vaccination. Diagnosed with pericarditis and anaphylaxis, removed from flight status for 6 months, thus negatively impacting unit mission readiness. I have never felt so abandoned by the military. I have been forced to take something that brought me close to my death. I was mocked, discredited, unsupported. Our squadron morale was ripped to shreds. All these things were completely unnecessary. We are truly less ready on multiple levels.
I had to talk to a wife of a soldier that had a stroke, which required speech rehab for several months, and talk to her while he was in the ICU and say to her, he's going to be okay and he'll be able to serve again because this is what he loved to do.
Back in September 2021, I submitted an affidavit in the Robert v. Austin case in which I outlined how the DoD was violating its own risk management process in their push to mandate the vaccine of every member of the armed forces with an experimental vaccine. After my testimony was made public, the DoD made no effort to investigate my safety concerns.
I got contacted by Attorney Tom Renz over the weekend, who represents some whistleblowers within the Department of Defense.
I have declarations from all three. This state is under penalty. This is under penalty of perjury. We intend to submit this to the courts. We have substantial data showing that we saw, for example, miscarriages increased by 300% over the 5-year average, almost. We saw almost 300% increase in cancer over the 5-year average. Cancer is not being talked about except for by Dr. Ryan Cole. Thank you, doctor.
I was the first pathologist in the world to say, guys, we're seeing an uptick in cancers. That's toxic spike protein has so many mechanisms that allow cancers to wake up, and certain cancer genes that it binds to and promotes mechanisms. Everywhere I go, radiologists, interventional radiologists, oncologists, cancer surgeons like I met today, cancer, 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 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, reactivated or second shot, third shot, month later, breast cancer, stage 4 everywhere.
We saw, this one's amazing, neurological. So neurological issues which would affect our pilots, over 1,000% increase. 1,000.
10 times. That's 10 times the rate, and obviously that
83,000, 82,000 per year to 863,000 in 1 year. Our soldiers are being experimented on, injured, and sometimes possibly killed.
Senator Johnson looked in the camera and said,
The Department of Defense, the Biden administration is on notice. They must preserve these records, and this must be investigated.
and within 24 hours, that system that is run by the Defense Health Agency was shut down.
Piece of our Died Suddenly documentary is the clots. The COVID shots caused them, and we believe they're causing people to die of them in huge numbers.
So let's debunk any idea that these are a naturally occurring phenomena, or that they occur after people die. The truth is they are causing people to die. And died suddenly is just the tip of the iceberg of the people that this technology is affecting.
1974, Henry Kissinger put out a paper that said we need to decrease the world population. And that's when the globalists kicked in.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff.
Our book, Limits to Growth, was the first concrete effort using a computer to look at trends that unfold over decades, even a century. We were trying to understand long-term physical demands on the planet. And in the 70s, we were thinking that probably in the period 2010 to 2030 was when the planet would start to encounter limits.
Here is what Dr. Meadows' computer shows. Since the year 1900, the Earth's resources, there at the top of the chart, have been steadily used up as population, food consumption, and production of goods have soared. Ahead of us, sometime after the year 2000, this computer study foresees calamity. Resources drop more steeply, and food and production follow suit. Population continues to expand for perhaps one more generation, then collapses calamitously as deprivation takes hold.
Now, 11 billion people, still a lot, but the good news is that the faster we improve health, the faster family size goes down.
The World Economic Forum, you have Klaus Schwab and George Soros and Bill Gates. They talk about depopulation.
COVID-19 also helped legitimize instruments of control.
It's a deep, systemic, and structural restructuring of our world.
Therefore, we have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path.
This pandemic has provided an opportunity for a reset. This is our chance to accelerate our pre-pandemic efforts to reimagine economic systems that actually address global challenges like extreme poverty, inequality, and climate change.
Also be clear, the future is not just happening. The future is built by us.
Those people definitely have had tremendous influence and sway in this whole
something. And that is why they seemingly know how to hold these events and almost perfectly predict what's going to happen.
The Event 201 scenario is fictional, but it's based on public health principles, epidemiologic modeling, and assessment of past outbreaks.
An outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere.
In other words, we've created a pandemic that could realistically occur.
A majority of Americans expect a vaccine to be available within 2 months, and 65% of those polled are eager to take the vaccine, even if it's experimental.
Vaccinate, vaccinate, make an appointment. Vaccinate, vaccinate, make an appointment. I got the vaccine up inside my life.
Got that vaccine up inside my life.
Will we get our dose? Just please hurry.
I got nothing.
And come on, vaccine.
Trust in your healthcare. Shot, 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 shot. Staying alive, staying alive.
Time for us to trust and not debate. The vaccine, believe it's safe to take.
And we will shoot 500 vials and we will stick 500 more. Become a good time when you're the vaccine. Stick it in me.
Body is now their property and playground.
It's all planned. Now, why they planned this, I don't know. And I don't even think I want to know.
This system is being put in place using lies, and it's being put in place using lies for some purpose, and I believe that purpose is complete totalitarian control. And I think the purpose of that is going to be mass depopulation.
One of our problems here is the assumption that this is like every other vaccine we've ever seen, and it's not.
It's the greatest experiment that has ever been performed in the history of medicine, and it's being performed on human beings. It's just an incredible thought.
So all of this started to come together, and we started to get kind of a sick feeling in our stomachs that, wait a minute, this is science gone bad here. None of this is supposed to be happening. The CDC has never otherwise explained these stats, and they are so tightly related to the vaccine.
50% of healthcare providers are absolutely not getting this injection. We don't trust the data. The fox guarded the henhouse. The companies did their own data. There were no independent observer groups.
You should disregard all announcements about case rates in your community, because they're completely fraudulent.
The very inventor of the PCR test, Nobel Prize winner Kary Mullis, said this test in itself is not a diagnosis.
And with PCR, if you do it well, you can find almost anything in anybody.
But they said we're being pressured in-house to add COVID to the diagnostic list, when we think it has nothing to do with the actual cause of death.
As a physician, I received an email last week from the Department of Health coaching me on how to fill out death certificates.
It's another level now of criminality.
There's a lot of other doctors who feel the same way. Well, they're too frightened to speak up. And as soon as that happens, a notification, and you're in the front of the medical board.
Dr. Robert Malone is a vaccine expert. He is the inventor of mRNA technology. He's undergone systematic attack. His history is literally being erased online. These fact-checking groups, for example, factcheck.org, they're funded by an organization that holds over $1.8 billion of stock in a vaccine company.
Once I was censored, I feel like I've kind of gone into this other world. And now I'm surrounded by people that it's kind of normal to have their work talked about in a strange way.
Sent me there to cover the COVID treatments at that hospital. I just wasn't supposed to ask that question. The viewers are being deceived by a carefully crafted narrative.
They are trying to push a narrative that is not based on the decades of immunology.
Nobody's in the hospital. How is that possible in a medical pandemic?
That's fake news, that's why.